You ever been loved by someone who didn't know how to love you but still tried anyway? Like someone standing in a kitchen trying to make a five-course meal with an empty fridge, two broken hands, and a YouTube tutorial they didn't even finish watching. That's what being with a half-ready person feels like. They want to give you love. They just can't. And at first, you think maybe if you love them harder, better, softer, louder, maybe then they'll figure it out. Maybe then they'll rise to meet you. But let me tell you something that stings a little. You can't be loved fully by someone who's only halfway ready to show up. And that's not your fault. But if you stay too long, it will become your problem. It starts slow. You ignore the first red flag because it was beige in the right lighting. You justify their avoidant behavior because they've just been through a lot. You explain away their emotional unavailability like it's a shipping delay on your Amazon package. It's not lost, it's just in transit. Babe, it's lost. You are standing there holding space for someone who doesn't even know what space is. They're not unpacked. They're still in survival mode. They still flinch when something feels safe. They think love means chaos because that's what they were taught. So when you show up, open heart, good intentions, emotional maturity, they don't know what to do with you. You're a foreign language. They like the sound of you, but they can't speak you back. And suddenly, your love starts to feel like a burden to them. Not because you're too much, but because they're too little and they know it. They might not say it out loud, but you'll feel it in how they pull back when things get good, in how they get cold the moment you get close, and how they always almost meet your needs. Like they circle the runway but never land. And if you've got a little bit of a savior complex, or just bad Wi Fi where your boundaries should be, you'll start trying to earn what should be given. You'll start auditioning for a role you were already cast in. You'll write emotional essays in their DMS. You'll overthink texts. You'll reread conversations looking for the moment they started drifting. Let me save you some scrolling. They never arrived. You fell in love with potential. And potential's a slippery bitch. You can't cuddle with could be. You can't build a life on almost. And loving someone for who they might become is just another way of abandoning yourself in real time. They might not be toxic. That's the dangerous part. Some people aren't terrible, they're just unhealed. And unhealed people don't mean to hurt you. They just do, because their wounds are louder than their intentions. And if you're not careful, you'll confuse their trauma response for romance. You'll call it passion when it's actually dysregulation. You'll think the highs and lows mean depth when they really mean damage. Because love doesn't have to feel like withdrawal to be real. It doesn't have to be a roller coaster. Sometimes love is a hammock, a porch light, a safe place to land when life starts throwing bricks again. But here's the thing, nobody tells you. People can love you and still not be ready for you. They can admire your heart and still not be able to hold it. You are not their rehab. You are not their therapist. You are not the lab rat for their healing experiment. You deserve someone who doesn't flinch when you say what you need, who doesn't leave you emotionally breadcrumbed because they don't know how to sit with their own truth. And listen, I know this hurts. I know you wanted it to work. I know you saw the light in them, the soft parts, the good intentions. But good intentions don't build healthy love. Consistency does. Presence does. Communication does. Choosing each other every day does. You can't force readiness. You can't pour into a cup with a hole in the bottom. You'll just keep losing yourself in the process. Keep shrinking. Keep contorting. Keep mistaking crumbs for cake. One of the hardest pills you'll ever swallow is realizing that you are ready, and they are not. That you've done the work. That you've sat in the fire. That you've cleaned out the closets and learned your own patterns and still ended up with someone who hasn't even opened the door to theirs. And that's where the real heartbreak lives. Not in losing them, but in realizing they were never really with you. Not fully, because half-ready people only show up in fragments. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And you were all in. Of course it broke you. But let me tell you something else. Wholeness cannot partner with hiding. You deserve to be met, not chased, not explained. You deserve someone who doesn't need a manual to love you. Who doesn't treat your feelings like a threat? Who doesn't make you earn what they should be freely giving? Love should not feel like a project, or a puzzle, or a performance. If it does, it's not love, it's labor. And I get it. It's lonely out there. You think maybe a half love is better than none? You think maybe if you're patient enough, they'll change. But let me ask you this. While you're waiting for them to become ready, what is happening to you? How many nights have you stayed up crying over someone who sleeps fine, knowing they confused you again? How many parts of yourself have you dimmed just to keep them from pulling away? How long will you keep betraying your own needs in the name of not being alone? There's a difference between loving someone and lowering your standards to keep them. And if you keep settling for the almosts, you'll miss the people who are already whole, the ones who don't ghost when it gets deep, the ones who don't punish you for needing, the ones who don't make you guess where you stand. Healing isn't cute. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It requires actual accountability. Most people don't want that. They want comfort. They want distraction. They want someone who will love them exactly as they are, without asking them to grow. And if you're someone who's grown, that'll exhaust you. You'll keep trying to pull them up and they'll keep pulling you down. And before you know it, you're stuck. But you know what's wilder than staying? Leaving. Walking away not because you don't love them, but because you love yourself more. That's what healing looks like. That's what readiness requires. Choosing peace over potential. Choosing clarity over confusion. Choosing reality over the dream you built in your head. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away from someone who's not ready to meet you where you are. If you've ever done that, if you've ever had to leave someone you still loved, I see you. It takes courage most people will never understand. That is grief mixed with growth. That is the heartbreak that no playlist can fix. But it's also the turning point. That moment where you stop asking, why wasn't I enough? And start asking, why was I trying to earn something that was never mine to begin with? If you've been here, you know what I'm talking about. That ache in your chest that comes from giving too much to someone who couldn't even hold their own pain, let alone yours. That moment when you realize they didn't love you the way you needed, but they did teach you how you never want to be loved again. You deserve real love, not love that shows up once a week and calls it effort. Not love that drains you more than it fills you. You deserve love that shows up, stays present, speaks clearly, and grows with you. You deserve love that's emotionally literate. Love that knows how to apologize, how to hold space. So if you're sitting here wondering if you're asking for too much, you're not. You're just asking the wrong person. And if this hit you somewhere deep, then maybe it's time to stop romanticizing the people who only gave you fragments. Maybe it's time to look at yourself and realize you're ready. And that means you don't need to keep settling for people who aren't, because you were never asking for too much. You were just asking someone to be ready, and they weren't. That's not your fault. But staying, that's a choice. One you don't have to keep making. You can go. You can choose you. You can take all that love you gave to them and pour it back into yourself. And when you do, when you finally decide that half is not enough, you'll make space for someone who loves you like it's the easiest thing in the world. And if you've ever been the half-ready person, maybe it's time to stop hiding behind your hurt. Maybe it's time to do the work. Because there's someone out there who would have loved you right if only you'd let them. Don't let the next one slip through your fingers.